Good evening, boys, and welcome to another edition of Questions for Condiments, Hell's Kitchen Editions, Week 6. As you know, we had an eventful Week 5, but there were no questions last week due to unforeseen circumstances, those circumstances being, well, pure forgetfulness, laziness, and apathy towards most life last week. So I do apologize for that, but as my educators know, teaching sucks and it tires you out. We are, like as I said, in week 6 right now with many teams still in playoff contention. We will begin our weekly $10 challenges starting at week 9. So you have this week as well as 2 weeks following to prepare yourself for that. In addition, I've mentioned in our introductory video that we were going to have a payout this year, but that payout has never been mentioned. So as of now, let me go ahead and mention that to everybody, and I will put this on the Slack board as well. Of the $540 that are up for grabs. Now, some of you are thinking, I put in 50, there's 12 of us, 50 times 12 is 600. Yes, but do not forget the $10 weekly challenges, taking away 60, leaving us with 540. $50 or your entry fee will be provided back to the highest scoring team in the league this year. We will have a $400 cash prize for first place, and then we will have a $90 second place prize. So all together, that equals $540 right there. Brian James Green and myself both decided this was a pretty clear way to deal things out, being the highest scoring, get your money back. Second place, get almost double your money back. And then first, take home a nice little $400 or 8 times your entry fee right there. Nobody can complain about a $50 scratch off turning into $400. But enough with the intros and the talking of such, because it's time for Thrills to ask his questions this week. So let's start off with our champion from last year, Brian Hull, aka King Sambal, going up against Commish of BFFFL, Benson Harbor, aka Mayonnaise, aka newly single and ready to mingle. You know what I mean out there, ladies. So King Sambal, my question for you is, what are you going to do at quarterback? Russ is out 3 to 6 weeks probably. You know, he's always going to try to get back in there, fix that middle finger up quick, fast, in a hurry. But at this time, your waiver wire options are pretty limited. I know you'll probably do something, maybe try to make a trade with the team you're playing this week, who does have the first and fourth best quarterbacks per fantasy quarterback stats. But will he want to deal with you, or will he just hold on to those quarterbacks? That is a question that we do not have an answer to. Mayonnaise, on the other hand, my question for you is, when will your star-studded big-name receivers actually do something for you? Hollywood Brown's not a big name, but he's doing work. OBJ and Julio Jones, not so hot right now with their hammies and their poor quarterbacking and just their overall shit-tastic performances. So luckily, you've got enough running back depth, quarterback depth to do something for you. But would your receivers give you anything this week? I think so, hence why I'll pencil you in for a victory. Thank you, questions. Thank you, Mayonnaise, excuse me. Moving on to our next questions. We're looking at Cheese Whiz versus Tabasco sauce. Now, Tabasco sauce, 2 straight heartbreaking defeats. Scored the second most points 2 weeks ago. Couldn't do ish. Didn't matter because you played the highest scoring team. This week, going up against Benson, you were crushing him. There's almost a 5% chance he was going to beat you going into Monday night, but then those players go off right there. Sunday night, actually, because Sunday night really got it going for him, and then Monday night just culminated everything in a big screw job for you right there. So sorry about that, Tabasco. But what are you going to do about wide receiver, running back 2, rather? Right now, your bench is Debo, Christian Kirk, TJ Watt, nothing else. You've got open roster spots. You literally have 1 healthy running back on your team in a league that requires 2 at minimum to play each week. What are you going to do about that? Cheese Whiz, on the other hand, can you just call up John Harbaugh and be like, hey, bro, just your defense is sucking. Just let Lamar and Mark go at it week after week after week after week. Those men combined for 100 points almost. 2 players, 100 points. You can't complain about that. And we got to say, Cheese Whiz, I thought you were down. I thought you had lost to Mango Habanero, but much to his chagrin, you did not. And this week, I expect similar output from those two, and I expect similar production from you, which means AKA win for Cheese Whiz. Picking up the big dub right there. Moving on to Bertman's Ballpark Mustard versus Cool Whip. Bertman's. Have you Jay Z'd it, brushed it off your shoulder. And that sorry-ass start right there behind the fantasy god Justin Herbert and the acquisition of JTT. That's right, Jonathan Taylor, 2 touchdowns. That's right, that's what we're going to call him, JTTT. Triple T's. We ain't doing home improvement bullshit with the pretty boy of the 90s. So have you brushed that off? Your team seems to be doing some things right now. I like what I'm seeing from your squad. You know you've got Justin Jefferson, one of the top 5 receivers in fantasy football right now. A couple good running backs, obviously mentioned with JTT, and a quarterback that anybody on their team wishes they could have. So looking at your squad right now, I'm seeing good things in your future. Cool Whip, on the other hand, man, just a team that year after year is doing something in this football league. Does it in baseball, does it in football. How comfortable are you, though, this week with Kamara being on a bye and having to start A.J. Dillon and I can't even pronounce his first name, but Herbert, Khalil Herbert, maybe, of your Bears, like even with Darrell Williams right there. I know they both had the same, Damian Williams rather. They're about the same amount of touches last week, same amount of rushes. Will Herbert get more of the ball this week to help your team get to victory? You can only hope so, but I'm going with the hot squad here. I think momentum is a real thing, and we're going with Bertman's Ballpark Mustard picking up the dub this week. All right, next question. We've got Aioli going up against Szechuan Sauce. Now, we were speaking about teams with players on bye, which Aioli does not have yet. But Aioli, what are your plans to do if Tyreek Hill is out for an extended period of time? Adam Wheelan, Thielen has been a little sluggish the past couple weeks. And really after that, you've got T. Higgins and Deontay. Oh, God, Big Ben is still throwing me the ball. I'm in trouble. Johnson on your team. So can you overcome a Tyreek Hill absence for 1 to 2 weeks? I don't really know. Let's go to the Braves to find out. Oh, Braves out of the inning. AJ Minter doing some work. 4-4, bottom 6. Let's do it. Chop on, Atlanta. Chop on. Szechuan Sauce. Can your team replicate the 235 points again this upcoming week? It seemed like anybody that could go off on your team last week went off for a crazy amount of points. That's typically what opponents like to see. Can they go back-to-back? That's a little more challenging. Can Devontae Adams get another 200 yards this week? Can Dak throw another 4 touchdowns? What will go on with your team this week? I'm hoping you don't drop 235 because, well, you are playing thrills. But do I see it as a possibility? Yes, I do. Hence why I'm picking Szechuan Sauce in the upset over a number 1 seed in the league, Aioli. We've got 2 matches left, 2.5 minutes to go in our video to keep it under 10. Let's keep it rolling. Ranch Bitch versus Soy Sauce. Now, speaking of teams on the up and up who are scoring at mad rates, we're going to talk about Soy Sauce who's scoring in the low rates. Coming off one of the most embarrassing performances we've ever seen in this league. 86 measly points. That's pathetic. I think the 12 men in this league could have gone out there last week and put up 86 points. So, Soy Sauce, can you recover? I talked about momentum earlier. Is your team really feeling this lack of managerial skill on your side? Or the, oh, I'm hurt, everybody's leaving on stretchers, everybody plays for the Giants at least. So, Soy Sauce, can you recover from that? Well, Ranch Bitch, I want to know, will Damian Harris lead the league in fumbles, hence fumbling his chance to be a productive player for the New England Patriots? Because we know Bill Belichick is not going to tolerate this for the rest of the year. So, what are you going to do about Damian Harris? You're another team that's kind of short this week on running backs. You got to play Damian because you have nobody else. Your Niners are on buys with Elijah and then Jeff Wilson still on that pup list right there. Smart play, by the way, holding on to him as long as possible. But right now, you're really banking on Damian having a comeback week this week. Should I bank on Soy Sauce having a comeback week? No. We're going to go with Ranch Bitch. Getting back on the dub train right there. And last but not least, we have the Jacksonville matchup right there of Mango Habanero versus the Golden Srirachas, or Srirachas de Golden. Now, Golden Srirachas, let's start with you. How do you feel about being the highest scoring team in this league by almost 70 points and yet having 2 losses? How does that really resonate with you? Is it something, hey, it's fantasy football, it's going to happen, just chalk it up? It's not like baseball where it's, skill. Oh, though my dogs are freaking out about that question. They want to know the answers too. Mango Habanero. My question to you is, I'm asking the questions, pups. I got this. Can Bob Trees, a.k.a. Robert Woods, build off of last week's dominant performance and go for another 20-point day? He hasn't had 20 points the first 4 weeks of the season. Drops it in week number 5 right there for you. Can he keep going with that? I certainly hope so. I own him in another league. I'd like to see it. Do I foresee you getting a victory? No, you're a little short on quarterbacks this week. Matty Ice on a bye. Trey Lance injured on a bye. Not a lot of stuff on the waiver wire. So I'm going to go with the Srirachas to pick up the dub this week and not worry about being high scoring with 2 losses. So overall, that leaves us with Szechuan, Mayonnaise, Cheese Whiz, Bertman's Ballpark, Ranch Bitch, and Golden Srirachas picking up the dubs this week. I hope these questions are answered thoroughly and in complete sentence form. Gentlemen, have a great evening. I will see everybody next week with Questions for Condiments.